Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Civ Show podcast, where we suck so you don't have to. I'm your host, MoySauce.
Razing Zozo.
Nystagmus.
And VektorKat.
And we have very special guests. I think you've interrupted me every single time. Every single time you've been on this podcast, sir.
You're gone.
Not once.
Do you want to like warn me so that I don't like just say my name ahead of time? Maybe just like let me know you're going to intro me. All right, I'm sorry. You know what? Next time I'll get it right.
All right, yeah, I'm a bad host. I apologize. Hey, okay, here, we're going to rewind here. Hey, VektorKat, we're going to introduce you, okay?
Love it.
Okay, we're going to go live in 5,
Shut
4,
my trap.
3, 2, no, we're not going to go through the whole thing again.
You know, apparently that's a skill some people could do is actually talk backwards. Like they just know how to do it. I think that's just a natural superpower, I think. There's people that can just do it talk backwards.
Or you could just imitate it really well, like Jim Carrey and, Ace Ventura. Let's see that in super slow motion.
We're going to try.
I can do it, coach. Just give me another chance.
One of my sister's friends was able to visually just picture a word. So if you said a word, immediately he would visualize it backwards and say it backwards within 0.5 seconds.
25 seconds? That's not exactly like
instantaneous.
That's a lot of time to think. I thought you said 25 seconds.
0.5. 0.5.
0.5. Okay.
Yes.
That's much more impressive.
That's impressive.
Sure.
20, hold on. KLAT.
This episode is off to a great start.
Oh, it's always off to a great start, especially with you, VektorKat. But yeah, let's get a little bit into you, man. Let's just go kind of straight into it. You come from obviously your own little community. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Civ6 Challenge League?
Yeah. And once again, thanks for having me. Before we get on to anything else. So the Civ6 Challenge League is something I started in quarantine, and it was based on a group of people that came out of the old CivCast podcast, because they used to do challenge games as an offshoot of that podcast. And when it went dormant, I got control of the challenge game aspect of things, and just kind of started to run with it. Right. So we kept the challenge group going, even though the podcast was no longer in regular production. Then it came back, and then I was a reoccurring guest on the show. And then it went dormant again, and the challenge league kept going for a bit and then died. And then I've resurrected it into what it is now. And partly in thanks to you guys and the other content creators that we're partnered up with as a result of coordinating the Civ Give, right? Kind of going through a bit of a renaissance right now, which is a lot of fun to experience, because the exposure and the participation these days has been just absolutely, if I may, going GameStop. And it's been a lot of fun to enjoy.
Artificially inflated by
Yeah, I mean stonks, I guess is what the kids are saying.
Oh wow, dude, you're so hip right now.
I know. I feel really cool, really young. But no, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of people like Copper Cutters and Pendon and Durdrick and Vouter, who co-cast the Civ Give with me, right?
Right.
People that have been around for years. And then there's also this huge influx of new people. And having that combo of old and new generations is really great right now. So it's a lot of fun. And it's making me try new things, like the Leader of the Week series that I had Nystagmus on, and making me want to start streaming and coming up with new ideas for content. So yeah, it's a really exciting time for sure.
Can you get into that's since you mentioned the Nystagmus and Leader of the Week? Like, tell us a little bit about your new series and Nystagmus. How did you feel to be on there, and like how did it go and everything like that?
Do you want to start with Nystagmus or? Yeah, go for it.
Sure, we'll have a new voice on for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. We were, and I know it's been out for a couple weeks now. I think the episode I was on, which was a great episode. It was a lot of fun chatting about it. It was it's a pretty laid back format. We kind of just chat about a specific leader, and we did Alexander the Great. So if you guys want to check that out, you can definitely take a listen to that leader of the week. But it was a lot of fun to be on there, kind of just bouncing ideas back on each other about different ideas, and then how they incorporated that into the game, right? Because ultimately Civilization is a history basis to it right now. Obviously recently they've been kind of taking a little bit more of a Lord of the Rings magic-y kind of tone to it a little bit, with, vampires exist and stuff like that now. But ultimately the basis of the game is history. And so I had a great experience on VektorKat's leader of the week, but I'll let him explain like what he's going to do with it and everything like that. But that was the episode I was on.
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Point of clarification. Vampires are real. It's a secret society. It's a secret society. All right. And there's a reason there's a secret society. People be freaked out if they found out that there's this ancient society that's all about drinking blood and vampire castles. Okay. They're all real.
Do they battle the lichens?
No, that's bullshit. Okay, but
that's fiction.
The rest of it's the owls. They're out there. I've seen the ceremonies.
Are the vampires?
They burn.
Are
these
they the
big
ones
owls.
that die in the sun, or do they sparkle in the sun? Which vampires are we talking about?
No. It's more that there is a way to drink human blood to live an extra 100 years. Okay. They've been passing along lots of information. Okay. The Dark Ages? That's because vampires got killed. That is what happened. Okay.
And when you interviewed Brad Pitt during being a vampire.
Oh, you beat me to it. You beat me to it.
You think I look like Christian Slater?
Point of brag before we move on. Nystagmus and I have been on VektorKat's podcast.
Yeah, wasn't that great? That's awesome. That 2/3 of the TheCivShow, and yeah, not like it's great, wouldn't be amazing or anything.
Hey, Zo,
I'm not interested.
Zo, I've been on twice.
Yeah. I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry.
We'll get you on, Zozo. We'll do it for sure.
All right, so VektorKat, tell us a little bit.
Gone.
Tell us. No, he's here. Tell us a little bit about
you wish
leader of the week. Tell us about leader of the week.
So part of the idea behind it was just to have a motivation to get an episode out every week, whether I had an interview or not. Because a lot of the a lot of the content so far has been based on interviewing other content creators, but I wanted to make sure that I was pushing out new content every single week and to motivate me to flex my creative muscles every week and stay dedicated. And I thought that leader of the week was a good idea because that gives me, something to do. I can go A to Z, because that's the popular thing. If you're going to be a content creator, you got to do the A to Z challenge.
Or A to Z, but that's fine. He can be wrong.
Yeah, A to Z. So, but I thought it doesn't necessarily have to line up with the challenge games. When it does, it'll be convenient, but it's not necessary. And we'll just go through the leader list, and it's really invigorating having an excuse to do some research, talk to interesting people like Nystagmus, and learn about these people in the game that I didn't know anything about beforehand. I mean, especially Manatore. I talk about in the episode on her, I didn't know who she was before I started playing Civ 6, right? But doing the research about her is really interesting and invigorating. And so it's just kind of trying to pass along that joy to other people, other players of the game and listeners of the podcast.
I listened to that episode. It was fascinating. I didn't know that she was buried in her own pyramids, like those Nubian pyramids, right? That I think how you described them, they were just taller and skinnier and steeper, right? So
Yeah,
like
they're not-
clearly
they're not-
they were invaded
they're
by
not-
aliens too, is what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, they're also made by aliens.
We're not saying it was aliens, but
But it was aliens.
was aliens.
Specifically, aliens that are parasites that take over human bodies called the Gual. And no,
Oh, you got me hooked, man. I was invested in that.
They're basically perfect life forms. Yeah, they're interesting pyramids because when you look at them, they're not equilateral, right? And they have these cute little porches in the front, which if you look closely on the tile improvement in the game, the devs have put that architecture onto the Nubian pyramids. And it's those little details that really, once you understand the history, right, there are these little details about Civ 6 that you can appreciate even more. So I'm not sure I'm right about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I am pretty sure that at some update recently, a Manitore got a new set of clothes. Like she got a new dress and more jewelry, because I remember her in a plainer, like brown dress. And now her dress is more gold. It's got more of a sheen to it. And she's got more jewelry. And after researching her, what she's wearing now makes more sense, because her reign in Nubia was a very productive and very wealthy time period. And so I just like knowing these details about her makes me appreciate her appearance in game and also the way she plays in game that much more.
Didn't you mention on the episode that she focused a lot of like feeding her people and growing food for her people?
Yeah, she did. And that also appears in the game, right? It's part of her flavor text. She's got to quote something like, give your people or provide for your people what the land cannot. And that ties in well with the Nubian pyramid giving food in game. I mean, it all, like, I really think that a Manitore in Nubia is one of those really good examples of the Firaxis devs, tying in real history and real information to how the civilization appears in game. Like they make mistakes. I'm not too hot on, Scotland gets a golf course. I'm not too hot on Canada gets the Mountie, right?
Ugh,
like there are some there's some weird stuff in the game. Don't get me wrong, but I think that Nubia is a really good example of some accuracy there.
Zoe, when was the last time you played Nubia?
I was just thinking, like, they're actually a fantastic money civ, and I think it's been months. Like, I think I need to play them soon, especially with the new corporations. Like, just listen. I'm like, yeah, Nubia is great. They got lots of money.
They get like 50% production towards all ranged units as well.
Yeah, on top of like an amazing defensive, and then they get like the Nubian archer, right?
Yeah,
I believe.
Which hold on, can we pause for a second and say, like, I watched the VOD for last week's TheCivShow. How many slingers did you build? That was insane. Like,
who, me?
Yeah, you.
I built like 10.
Holy crap! Dude, somebody comment.
Yeah.
He's like, what's a melee unit? And says Zoe, and I'm like, oh,
part of the plan though. A slinger is just an elephant you haven't met.
Anyway,
It's the way to go, man.
Do you remember that? Do you remember the point where I told Zoe, I'm like, wow, that's a good plan. Great on you, man. Because he just bought a bunch of slingers. And I was like, oh, he's going to upgrade them up to his elephants. Okay, I get what he's doing now.
Oh. It's like, yeah, everything's coming together, and I was just waiting for mercenaries, which I was rapidly approaching, and then I upgraded my army very rapidly. And
everything's coming up, Voichin.
Yeah,
speaking
of a lot,
and unlike the game with Peppermint Butler, he actually came to the front lines. One of his units showed up.
Oh man,
took a shot
so hard
at
to be
someone.
allied with you guys.
Like last time I put my brother, like, man, he's at my borders. Don't worry, man, I'm coming. I'm turning on the war machine. Okay.
I was,
okay.
and
he
I
took one of my
did.
border cities. Help me out. Okay, he's surrounding my capital. Hey, man, I'm coming. Don't worry.
He had super math. He had super math. Okay, he had Moy math going for him.
No, he's got way more than
can't-
Moy math.
I
He's got
couldn't
PhD
fight.
math on his side.
I know he's got super math.
Yeah.
I couldn't fight his math is. His math is strong, okay? Just
There's one
take a big
smart
whiff.
cookie right there for sure. That is a smart
He
guy.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
your vector challenge, copyright. I infringed on that by calling it a vector challenge. I remember the one though that we did a few weeks ago, and like Peppermint Butler by like turn 187 had like nanotech, and I'm just like how I was nowhere close. I think at 187. I might
with the
have had
new
musket
game mode,
whip.
he got a sub 150 culture victory.
No way,
Like-
dude. Get out.
Like,
And he would have had it under 140
speed.
if he knew them. If he said his words were, if I knew the mechanics of how these things worked, I would have gotten like under 140.
Yeah.
I did
So
I did a sub 150 with Vietnam the other day.
I
it's
believe
just-
it.
It's kind of bonkers once you get everything cooking.
With
for
preserves.
sure. With preserves and the new monopolies and corporations and all that, the way that tourism buff stacks, if you've got your adjacencies going and you get the right like resource benefits, I mean the culture benefit you can get in one city and then you double it when you get a monopoly, it just gets bonkers. But yeah, go ahead.
I've already seen like a flaw with this and then I hope they fix it. So we have like right now in our game, I think Moy has 2 monopolies, and it's not because he's got tons of stuff. It's because there are only 3 of a certain item, and he has 3 of them.
That's a monopoly, baby.
So he
That's
has a
what
monopoly.
it is.
That's a
Whereas
monopoly.
every other thing is there's 8 of them. You know, but there's one item, there's 3 of them, and it counts. So I hope that it's not the same. I hope that the number of whatever tourism or whatever he's getting, I hope it's not the same as somebody who had to go and get 8 or heaven forbid 12 of something. If it's the exact same bonus, that's broken and they have to fix it, because it's a lot easier to get 3 than 12. Right? That's basic. Like that's math I get.
That's part
the
of
math I
map
understand.
generation.
It
That's
might be
like
blunted,
I
though,
agree. I
because
think
we
that's
are
just
at
the-
war, right?
Huh?
Like it might be blunted in our game because we're at war.
Yeah, but still it's 3. It's only 3 spaces you have to protect, and that's easy. It's a lot easier to protect 3 squares than it is to protect or hexes than 12, right? And 12 is scattered across the world. 3 is it's all he started with them. That's not right. I think they have to fix that. If you turn corporations on, it needs that algorithm, whatever, has to kick in. Not algorithm, but
just
the
just
program
change
has
your
to kick in.
algorithm, Civ.
Well, the
Fraxis.
program
Just change
has to
your
kick in
algorithm.
and say there are 40 luxuries, and we're going to make sure that they're evenly distributed. Whatever. You can't have 3. That's not right.
It's just the underlying game mechanics that it's tough because there are, I think, don't quote me on this, but like 3 luxuries per continent, and the continents are generated by the map. So that depends on what kind of map you choose. If you choose like continents and islands, then you're gonna have like one small continent possibly with only like 3 resources, and all of them are just unique,
And that's
right?
fine. And just make the bonuses not equal, right? If I have 12, that should be a bigger tourism bonus than those 3. You know.
Yeah,
And
no,
and
I
it's
get what
probably
you mean
not.
there. Yeah,
It's
I get what
probably
you mean.
not.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
Like, although, like, common sense wise, it does make sense. Oh, there's only 3. Well, there's only 3 in the world. Well, there's 12 of them. Oh, they're all over the place. This is rare stuff here.
So overall,
Is
let's I guess start talking about corporations and stuff. So VektorKat, what's your opinion on corporations and monopolies?
I love it. I mean, the same as I felt about secret societies. I think for me, this is going to be part of my default setup going forward. I think it's a necessary addition to the game. It's something that Nystagmus mentioned previously on either this show, my show, or both. I'd love to see some things from Civ 4 brought back into Civ 6. And here we are.
Yep.
You know, I think I either put in Discord or texted you, Moy, like y'all need to title your feedback episode "We Were Right," because a lot of what you guys had talked about showed up in the update, right? I love it. I think it's wonderful. I think that there is something about that tourism bonus that maybe might get tweaked, maybe. But I'm crazy about it. One thing that I love about the ability to make a product and send to another city is it reminds me of this thing in Age of Empires 3 where you could send products and like shipments to your colonies and you could build it like a deck of cards in a way. And I like that old game sentiment coming into brand new content. I like it a lot. So all in all, huge fan, wouldn't change a thing. Love it to death. What about you guys?
We'll go in the Nystagmus first. We already kind of know Zozo, so I think Zozo will be quick.
I like the idea behind it. A couple things I'd like to tweak. One, for the ultimate thing, I'd like an economic victory condition. Like it's cool now we have corporations, we have monopolies, we have industries. That's all really awesome. A couple of mechanics I want them to get into is one, economic victory condition, and two, also show. There's a theory in international relations about more interconnected people become, the less conflict arises. And so in the late game, if you start having monopolies and corporations, you can have it so that you don't get the tourism unless people buy your product, right? And if you don't get the tourism from the product, then if you go to war with people, then it cuts off your economic advantage. And so that's where interconnected countries don't fight with each other. Canada, the United States is a classic example of this. We're so interconnected. Seeing like a war break out between Canada and the United States is like unthinkable right now, right? Mm-hmm. European Union's another great example. They're so interconnected now. The whole goal of the European Union was to end war on Europe, or at least a major war. And their interconnectedness now kind of makes that impossible. Like you basically harm yourself so much more by doing that, by severing ties. And so I like to see those kind of mechanics show up with trade. I want trade to make more like meshing with different civilizations that you're trading with, and an economic condition could be that you dominate trade for a given luxury resource, and you have to do it for a certain number of them or something like that. But I love the idea of it. I want them to just keep building on it, even if people like have issues with it. Like for example, I have no idea the connection between having a monopoly and tourism. I have a monopoly on oil. Okay, great. People don't like show up to your country to look at the oil, right? Like,
well, okay.
And so I like to know why they decided on that between tourism and the commodity. I thought it would be more cool if they had it more connected to economics as opposed to like culture, but that's just my personal opinion. I think it's a cool mechanic.
I mean, to be fair, America has made a habit of showing up to people's countries to look at their oil, but they're
not tourists though. It's tourism. You get tourism from your monopoly, and so I want to know the thought process behind them landing on that mechanic for the monopoly.
I think they probably consulted Sid Meier, and Sid Meier is from Switzerland. So it's like, what do people go to Switzerland for? Chocolate. Oh, that brings tourism? Yes. Okay, we're going to incorporate that in our game now. That's probably what happened. So
I deem that theory plausible.
Okay. Good enough.
I believe Nystagmus, what you're describing is called game theory. And in particular, this is the reason it's called a non-zero-sum game, and that's where it's a win-win. So when you reach a non-zero-sum game, it's mutually beneficial, and the more non-zero-sum games, and democracies have a tendency to reach non-zero-sum games where both sides win, and it's not where authoritarian, it's it's a zero-sum game where there's a winner, there's a loser. And yeah, the societies that have non-zero-sum relationships tend to be cohesive. But that said, kind of, I don't know, I get like they can add an economic victory, sure. that would be more based on, I think, unifying, I guess, the economy. So yeah, like a one currency. I think that's what they kind of did in past civs. Maybe they suggested a one currency or something like that. I think Civ Revolution, it was just you had to make 50,000, or you just had to bank. Once you banked enough money, or no, it was once you banked enough, you could build the World Bank, and that did it. It was like a wonder. But corporations seem to support other victory conditions. So yes, it adds to your tourism, makes that a lot easier. But then, it could also add to your diplomacy. Like you just said, if you have trade with people, you're likely going to be getting along better. Maybe you'll be voting stuff. So that could help your game. Obviously, with the right monopolies, you like Mercury or whatever, you can get help you with your science victory. So I think that's what they're kind of going for, as opposed to money will bring us together. But it is kind of weird because I think money probably will unify us. It kind of is, right? Like that's this is like, if you look at a type 1 civilization, right? We're type 0. A type 1 civilization has a unified economy, a world economy, right? And there are theorists that say that that's just naturally going to happen. Over time, you're going to naturally have, the easier it is for people to trade, so yeah, maybe. I remember in Spore, economic victories, if you were the omnivores, I don't know if anyone ever played Spore.
Yeah, I did.
Game.
I didn't get very far though. But
if you could be an omnivore, and economic victory was basically, everybody joined the same economy, and that's how you won. That was your way of, the carnivores would fight, the herbivores would peaceful, loving care, and then the omnivores were buying cities. So a global economy, I guess I could see that for a victory condition. It kind of sounds like diplomacy, though, to be honest.
So my idea of economic victory would be more like every civilization or every country is kind of like today is run like a business, right? Every country is almost has a dollar value. How is that dollar value kind of associated with them? Well, you can associate it with trade, how much money you're bringing in, how much money you're exporting out. So you can say, okay, let's just go for this example, gold per turn. I make 200 gold per turn. Okay, so I can say my share price for my economy is 200 gold for one share. And then for an economic victory, you would have to buy, let's say for this example, 100 shares of each civilization, and you would become the economic victor, or 50% of the shares, whatever that number is going to be, of every economy. So like you own every country virtually. So if Zoe is only making 50 gold per turn, I put 50 gold in his shares 100 times. That's I now own his economy, and like Nystagmuses and VektorKats and blah 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 blah. There can be modifiers based off of luxury resources, how many trade routes you have.
Do a game GDP calculation?
Yeah, basically, like how, like I don't know how to do that, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yes.
Probably a very complicated metric with population, right?
Yeah.
So market size versus how well off your markets are. And so it could be by how rich your country is and how many luxury resources it has, as like a complicated analytic to calculate like a kind of in-game GDP. I remember Civ 4 used to tell you like how many people lived in your Civ.
Yeah.
Right? Like
that was like a normal. That was a normal thing until more recent civs. That was like Civ 1. Total population.
I think it was Civ 5 that made population a completely abstract concept. Like you used to get a total population.
Yeah, each city would have its own population number.
Exactly.
Yeah. It didn't matter. It didn't like it wasn't
but
important. It didn't affect the game.
It made it feel a little more realistic. It made those cities feel more lived in, I like the idea of combining what Moy and Nystagmus are both saying, as if so like there's a civilization GDP that the game presents you with, but then you can buy into or manipulate the other civilization's values. Maybe you can buy into their products or their production with gold or with diplomatic favor. Like maybe there's a ratio where you can spend gold, but if you spend Diplo favor, it's like got a 2-to-1 value. I don't know.
I think if they did economic victory, like I don't know, they'd have to make it kind of complicated. I think they've tried to purposely keep money simple in Civ, right? The actual value of money it's a complex organism, but I could see something along the lines of currencies, where a nation's currency, if you can become the dominant currency of the planet, your currency is labeled like the unified currency, right? So like right now there's like what 3 major currencies in the world, right? Like the yen, the dollar, the American dollar,
Pound, probably
the pound, whatever. There's some top contenders. If you ultimately, like, China has billions of dollars, I guess, of American debt, but they have just cash. Apparently, I don't know if this is true. Apparently, they have just tons of cash, like actual dollar bill cash that they have stored, and at any time they could flood the market with that cash, and they have a lot of control because of that. So if they added a component of the game where your currency, and it's kind of what you guys are talking about. It's kind of what you're talking about.
Technically, if any country has a fiat currency, you all do that, because you could just print more money.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole point of a fiat currency, right? You can manipulate the supply, which every country can do.
Right. So, but like China owns a lot of American debt, right? They're
not as much as you think.
Okay. Sure. But either way, that I think it's a lot, but we don't have to go into that today. Yeah, that could be a way that maybe economic, that they had the idea of your currency actually matters. But that's a level of complication, right? Like that's maybe a Civ 7 complexity.
Yeah, exactly.
That would take like maybe a lot of computing power.
We are going to get one more game mode and one more Civ.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll see what they do with that. But I
like
where they've gone.
I don't think they'll do like corporate victory as the game mode, because we've already got that, and they didn't add that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we did get. Yeah, they didn't add it. It might be interesting though, just to pepper it in. Like maybe when there's aid requests, you could offer a loan instead of just offering raw gold. So then later on in the game, you could recall that debt.
I think the difficulty is like you can't have it that it's like the other victory conditions, right?
Take culture, for example, because that's the most complicated one.
Yeah, it can't be like culture, and it is very complicated. So it can't be like culture. It can't be like diplomacy.
But going
it has to be something standalone.
I'd like them to introduce mechanics where you can take out a loan, because that happens in real life.
Yeah.
Right? Like countries going to mass
do that.
You can do that. You as a player could say, listen, Nystagmus, I will lend you this 500 gold. But
you have to
have some interest, but you could maybe have that, like you found a world bank and everybody can go take loans out of there, and that might be a way to do economic victory, is by basically placing the planet in debt. But I think that's kind of dark, and I think Sid Meier's might have drawn a line in the sand, be like, nah, that's all right. They already know about that reality.
I
Let's give them something.
think they didn't do it because it could be easily abused. If you can go into debt to do something, you can just because just say you're making 500 gold per turn, right? Obviously, you would be able to go into much more debt because you would pay a chunk of that 500 gold per turn in interest payments on that debt, right? And so you could just all right, I want to just take out 10,000 gold and upgrade all of my army to mechanized infantry in one swoop.
Yeah, I'd see it more like you have to buy these 5 things, and each one of them is increasingly more expensive, and then the last one is like 20 payments of 1,000 gold or something like that.
But the way it would be abused is warriors don't have maintenance cost, right? So you just spam warriors for the longest time, keep them in a corner somewhere, wait until you get a later age, take out a loan of gold, and just upgrade them all instantly. Right?
Yes, you could. Definitely.
That's a bold move, though,
kind
man.
of do that all the time.
That'd be going out on a limb. I think if they did a victory condition like that, though, it would be based around how much debt you're holding for your opponents rather than how much debt you're able to survive being in. Right? I imagine something like something like the scientific win condition, where if we go back to previous editions where you built the World Bank and recontextualize that to now where you've got the satellite, the moon landing, the Mars colony, the exoplanet expedition. Like you've got different steps to building the World Bank, but each one requires you to have certain amounts of equity with your other opponents in the game.
Yeah, it'd have to be like they'd have to add a layer of complexity, because you can't just have that it's buy this. That's boring.
That's simple, right?
It's and you can't have that it's just build this, because that's science victory. A science victory is essentially a production victory. Yeah, is what it comes down to, right? Is how quickly can you build this stuff? So they'd have to make it fun, but and not become an entire game of itself. Yeah, because they could probably make Civ economics and it would be fun. It's all about buying and selling, and there's stocks, and you gotta talk about monetary policy.
GameSpot mode. Everyone like GameSpot.
Civ 6
it'd be cool
AMC.
Though for economic. If they went a different direction and didn't go that of heavy capitalism, and that what economic victory actually is, it's more like the world happiness index, and it's more like you're just trying to make all your people, it's not that you're trying to spread your culture, it's just that everybody's happy and well-to-do and go, but that's, I don't know, that kind of sounds like diplomacy as well. Let's all get along.
But that's also
our citizens are the most happy. That means we win.
But that's also the science victory already, because a science victory is a production victory, and you got to have your good morning amenities, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. I guess, or they could go the path of Civ 4 even further, where it was just spreading your corporation, and you just needed to get actual found corporations and spread them in other cities. I get it though. There's enough win conditions, I think, in Civ. Do we really need? Was that an eighth one? Would that be an eighth one? There's 6 right now.
Seventh or seventh? I'll say seventh.
I think as long as people are asking for it and wanting it, we need it.
Kind of late in the game, though.
If you want to swap one out, you can get rid of diplomatic victory, because ain't nobody else.
Hey! The new challenge for Civ 6 Challenge League, the diplomatic challenge, is incredibly difficult. And the fact that it's diplomacy, I think, makes it that much cooler.
I'm sorry about that.
That's just a personal opinion.
If I wasn't lined up with this Kree thing, I'd try it out. I've done diplomatic victory. It's fun.
I feel bad. There were a couple people complaining about this earlier tonight. And in our group thread, I was sending you guys updates as I was doing the balance testing, right? A couple weeks ago. And I feel bad because when I finished making this game, I sub 200'd it. And now it's after the update, it's impossible. I do not know what's going on. And luckily I set the achievement timer to 250, but still, I don't know, something has broken. The center has not held. Things have fallen apart.
So are CPUs just building those wonders that give you diplomatic victory points, or why is it taking longer? Or no, I think Shark said aid requests weren't working.
Yeah, and what I did was I went out of my way to go and cause catastrophes.
Yeah,
and
that's what I would do too.
I went and caused wars and got people to declare on me, got my production up. But it seems like those aid requests are not triggering as much as they used to, right? And there is some chatter about maybe the devs tried to slow that timer down because they were getting tired of quick Diplo wins. So maybe there's fewer aid requests. I don't know.
That was early on. They made that change. That was almost immediately after Apocalypse Mode came out. They made that change.
That's why I didn't think that this update was going to change things that much. And I've already seen a 240, a 230. So I think that a sub 200 is still possible. But yeah, this game is hard. But it's also really interesting. I think it's best that it's a Diplo win, because the way the AI on this map gets going in terms of science and culture is a little bit ridiculous and a lot of fun to watch happen, in my humble opinion.
It might be like a bug because I remember for me, I don't know about anybody else, like in the update, like I couldn't do deals anymore with all my old save games. Like any game I had saved after the update, and whenever it went up to the deal screen and I tried to like click out of the deal, it would just like blank out and I couldn't like get out of the screen.
Well, I'm having deal screen issues with games made after the update. And luckily the challenge game was made completely after the update. So I don't like, I know there were some bugs on launch day, especially in multiplayer, right? So maybe there's still some things that are being worked out. I don't know.
Okay, I have a question that's related, not related to what you're talking about, but still related to Civ 6 Challenge League.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about team challenges where it's you get 3 people?
Random, just choose a number.
Yeah, just random number.
3.
Just 3 people. And you put them on a team and you give them the same thing, the win condition, you give them their opponents, the exact same thing. Just you have 3 people on your team. How fast can you do it? Ever thought about that?
No, because it's always been exclusively a single player experience.
I tried, guys. Tried. All right. Dang. Look, you even have a PogChamp team challenges in the chat, man.
So
this is an opportunity.
That's what it's always been. I'm just saying I've never thought of that, which means if I do that, you get credit for the idea because I've clearly said I've never thought about it.
Don't give me credit. I didn't do it.
You just came up with it.
Just wanted to plant the seed.
That would be fun if you could cut. Like, I know that'd be hard or different, right? Maybe not hard, be different because normally you have everyone starting in the same place, so we were all having the exact same experience. But to have like a well-designed map that's just specifically designed for 3 people, but in true VektorKat style, where like it's what I love about your maps. The few that I've done, like the Scotland one, for instance, was like the way that you set it up was it like a fantastic start for Scotland. Like these are exactly what you want, and one of the most fun things to do. I think in that game.
From that game.
I love that game. I did good. I got far in that game. I loved how we had such different approaches.
Stomped on like every single time.
But either way, like it's awesome to be like, okay, if I'm going to be Nubia, I know VektorKat's going to have this amazing start that's so perfect for Nubia. So I think, yeah, if you ever did a 3-way challenge where the 3 civs were like, this is as awesome as it can possibly get, that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, maybe, so let's see. You've got, so this Sunday is Foibles, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can give you a little Valentine's Day present.
Oh, I mean, okay. If you want to go that soon, dog, we got.
If you
availability.
If you
there's
don't
no rush, man.
If you don't have a guest after Foibles, maybe I can get you a game ready by then. And just a little 3-way map for the TheCivShow boys and see what you do with it.
Me?
Are we gonna team up? Like us 3 team up against AIs and see how fast we can get a victory?
Yeah.
That'd be neat if it's like we're in the middle, there's the 3 of us in this like triangle, and then there's the enemy that's all around us. They're all coming for us.
Yeah.
I think it'll fight them off.
It'll be the Wood Elves, the Night Elves, the Summer Elves.
Yay!
Why do you gotta be elves, man? What? No dwarves?
Oh no, I scared him away. Oh no!
That just reminds me of the Warhammer mod we played, and I have fun memories of that game because
that
was a fun game, man. And you played really well. That was a good time to watch. I enjoyed
it was
that.
so broken for the Dark Elves. I was like,
oh, it was absurd.
So Dark Elves. So Dark Elves have all tundra in their land, and they treat tundra like it's regular land. And I rushed work ethic and Aurora. I'm like, okay, so every one of my cities has like 100 production, like at turn 100.
Yeah, that
Like, okay.
that the elves faction you were playing in that mod was like, okay, so we're gonna take Peter from Civ 6. And then we're gonna just break it just a little.
Yeah.
Like, let's just make it more broken.
Break it more than it's already broken, right? Like,
right. It was
they
absurd.
took Peter.
Yeah. What if
ahead,
you went, that little extra vector mile, and instead of just making, do a full mod. And what would Zozo be if he was a Civ? What would Moy be if he was a Civ? What would Nystagmus be if he was a Civ? Go.
Well,
if I'm allowed to make Zos.
burn,
Only
right?
if I'm allowed to make Zos will I do that, and then Zo can make mine.
So Zoe goes in the corner, count to 1,000,000, and after that, it still won't happen.
if we're gonna, first of all, if we're gonna go down that road, we're gonna have to get Ruby involved. Because because if we're gonna start making mods, I think that the TheCivShow mod queen has to be involved.
Very true.
Number two, in all seriousness, one thing that I've always loved about what you guys do is how you react differently to existing civs in the game. I think I could easily come up with some interesting and new and like innovative civs to fit who you are as players. But I would rather me say, hey, here's what I think like when community picks for a game one time, I got to give you, Zozo, the Ottomans, right? And see you like, oh, I forgot that this was in this. Oh, they get this, and oh, they've got a ship, and oh, okay. Because I love the game so much. Yeah, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. I love the game so much as it is. I love seeing how other players react to it as it is. So, yeah, I'd be tempted to make mods for each of you, but really, I'm always invigorated by and interested in grammar, Alabama boy, how you guys react to what the game is on its own, right? But yeah, some TheCivShow mods would definitely be interesting. That's my way too long answer to that statement. Sorry.
Love it.
I don't even remember what the question was, but let's move on to
It
some
wasn't really a question.
community. Let's move on to
It
some
was just a
community
comment
questions.
that just inspired me to react and just say that I appreciate what you guys do already without needing mods. Just the way you play the game on its own. That was all.
Okay, let's move on to some community questions. We actually have some in chat right now. The first one comes from Roman TV. Did you guys, or is it Roman or was it Drekka? Let me double check that. It was definitely Roman. Okay. Do you guys like the Civ 6 graphics where it's a little more cartoony, or did you enjoy Civ 5's more realistic version? This is a very good question. Very hot topic.
I have to say, I really like Civ 6's aesthetic. Like I was introduced to Civ 4. When I played Civ 5, whenever I played that game, it just didn't feel right. I don't know if that's a good way of like putting it. Like it didn't seem like the look of it. Yeah, it didn't feel the same. Basically my experience with Civ 5 was not very extensive. I played it for a little bit. I really couldn't get into it. Civ 6 is the other Civ that I've gotten more into than I did in Civ 4, actually. So I actually enjoy the aesthetic of Civ 6 more than Civ 5.
Zo, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Civ 5 was, it's revolutionary and it's hexes and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of, the aesthetic went for a more realistic look. And I think Civ 6 went more along the lines of Civ Revolution's look. But in Civ Revolution, it had everyone that talked was just a gibberish, whereas this, like, they're talking. And I think that's the more cool component, is by giving it the cartooner, or I get it, the more comic book, I would say, look. I think it reminds us that we're in a game and it's fun. and Civ isn't looking to be hyper realistic. So I think it's a good move to go in that direction. So I like it.
What do you think?
Everything that Zozo just said.
I love having you on the show, man. It's good to have someone on my side for once.
I mean, you beat me to it. Like, I had this whole thing about, like, you know, I love the realism of Hearts of Iron and Europa Universalis, and I liked the darker tone of 5, but Civ 6 is a game. You said everything that I was going to say. Yeah.
I immediately
mind.
I do understand why
we've got a thing, and especially it works out like we're over here on the screen, the two of you are over there on the screen.
Oh jeez.
Good side of the screen.
Get a room.
Bad side of the screen.
I didn't say bad, I said lame.
We've got a screen. All right. Anyway, sorry. Next question. I'm derailing things. I apologize.
I agree. I enjoy Civ 6 aesthetics. I just like the animations more. I think that with the less realism, they're more free to be more expressive with the animations, and you did definitely see it with Cleopatra. Like the way when she's angry at you, you know she's angry at you, and it's just a lot better. I feel like Civ 5 was very blocky. It was very stiff. Even the figures, even though they're more realistic women's looking, they were just more stiff, and I understand that maybe technology has advanced and blah 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 blah, but I actually enjoy the aesthetic of Civ 6. So there's that question. Next question. With the new Frontier Pass approaching its end, which are your guys' favorite new civs and new game modes added? We'll start with VektorKat this time.
So we talked a lot about Monopolies. For me, Secret Societies is probably my favorite. And
what's your least favorite?
Least I don't really have one because I love them all. It's just a matter of what do I want. My least favorite game mode is vanilla Civ 6.
Okay, I'll take that answer. Okay.
I mean, seriously, because they have all been an addition, right?
And then your new favorite Civ?
Byzantium, hands down.
Oh,
no question.
Choice. I like them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who was second last? I think it was Zoe. So Zoe, you're next.
New favorite game mode. Like, I think everybody likes Secret Society, so that should just be. It's not even a game mode. That's a permanent, now established. I think the most interesting one is also the harder one to play on, and that's the Dramatic Ages. I think it adds a really neat flair to the game, especially like with the breakaway civs. And I'd like to have that even more explored, where like you could have a breakaway that they start a new civilization, like a new pops up instead of just being free states. So I'd say that would be my favorite of the new modes. I don't know corporations well enough. I like anything that's gold making, but I sense that there might be something off about corporations. We'll see. Least favorite is heroes, hands down. I don't like the heroes mode. I get it, but it's really, I don't know. I don't think you can balance it because it's all very circumstantial. What hero will be great, which one won't. Maybe I just have to try it more, or like I didn't really realize last game that what the wonders have been tweaked. I didn't really get that. So maybe try it a little bit more. Hands down, favorite new Civ is the Gull. I think they're just awesome. Such a fantastic military and culture mixed together. They're just a really fun Civ to be. Their little culture bombs, everything about them. I think the Gull are super fun, and they're one of those civs that they don't have a peak. I don't think. I just think they just get bigger and better and more amazing. So
Nystagmus, you're next. Your favorite game mode, least favorite game mode, and favorite civ.
So I agree that Secret Society is basically part of the vanilla game now. Like I can't imagine like playing vanilla Civ anymore, to be honest, like without Secret Societies. Now,
Right.
I do miss getting that extra governor slot every single time you met a Secret
I
Society.
know.
I miss
Oh,
that
it's
so
so
for
much.
Sure, yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, Secret Societies is something that I want them to keep tweaking. Like I really think Hermetic Order could be a lot better. Like first, like it sucks that you get Hermetic Order and then you don't know that there's like when I played on the True Start Europe map, there was one ley line on the entire bloody map. Like that was weird. And I chose them as Rome. So I agree with that. Now I think my favorite one to play though is Dramatic Ages. It annoys me. Like it frustrates me to almost no end a lot of the time, but it creates a lot of like, even when things are going well, like when you're not at war and stuff like that, it creates another conflict in the game that I really enjoy. Like you're fighting for something in it. And it's one of the game modes that actually changes your behavior. Like you'll research other things just so you can get the era score so you don't go into a dark age.
Yeah.
Right. And so I really like that one. My least favorite game mode is Apocalypse mode, but that's just because of my post-traumatic stress from like getting hit with like 4 comets in that one game. Like we had 5 comets
I
land.
remember, that was like the first time. The first Apocalypse.
5 comets
Yes.
landed, 1 landed on a city state, and the other 4 landed in my civilization. So I do not like Apocalypse mode.
That was great.
And also I
then
couldn't
you,
get the computers fast.
And then you attack a city by a volcano.
Yeah. Or with a
Or
blizzard.
you're Russia and you're basically invincible.
So my least favorite one, I think it's really cool, like concept, but like it became like, if you do like Primordial with Apocalypse mode, like it just like gets frustrating.
You're setting yourself up for disaster at that point. Come on, you can't say that.
Favorite new Civ added, Grand Columbia, like of course, like
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. Yeah.
that's my favorite new Civ. Yeah, so. And my prediction for the new one, I don't know if we're going to do that later, but I can give my prediction for the
Just
new.
say it anyway.
Yeah. I think the new Civ is not going to be a European Civ. I don't think it's going to be Portugal. I think everyone thinks it's going to be Portugal. I don't think it's going to be Portugal. I think it's going to be something like another indigenous population. So like the Inuit or another like the Métis. Something like that is going to be the next civilization, I think. So it's going to be a North American civilization, I think.
We'll come back and get everyone's predictions for that one.
What about you,
Let me
Moy?
answer. Yeah, what about me? What about me? No, okay. My favorite. What about me? Secret Societies is obvious. Okay, so we're just gonna scratch that one out because that's like everybody's favorite. That's everybody's go-to favorite. Apart from that, I really enjoy Apocalypse mode. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
You would.
I think it's so cool. The whole concept is really cool. I think it was executed a little poorly. Like I think because the mechanics of like the whole sea levels, I think that kind of ruined Apocalypse mode a little bit. If they took that out, I think it's totally fine. I love the idea of appeasing the gods and sacrificing your military units to get rewards. I think the rewards should be better. I think the rewards currently aren't as good as what it should be. I think that the soothsayers are limited in their use, where they have to be within range. I wish they could control where the blowing of the winds would be, as you would say. If I start a desert storm and I want it to go to Zo's land and not on my military right behind me, like that would be great, right? I just think it could have been executed a little bit better, but I love the concept of Apocalypse mode. And then for my least favorite game mode, I don't like, part of me doesn't like Heroes, but the other part of me doesn't like Shuffle, if you count Shuffle.
I forgot about Shuffle. That was so forgettable that I didn't even count it in my least favorite. I hate Shuffle.
I like if it was a casual game, like a super casual game, or like no one's going to war, no, like you're just kind of building up your empires. Shuffle mode's great in theory. In practice, everyone's competitive and everyone's like, where the hell is this one civic that I need for my entire empire to get going? That's the reality of it. So like they looked at that and
they said, do you want a world where someone can build muskets before they can build swords? This is the world for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was about to say I really enjoy Shuffle mode as Babylon. because you do something and then it's like, oh, that's where that technology is. And now I have it. Okay, let's go. But other than that,
okay.
Yeah,
it just hides Eureka, so you have to memorize them all. That's the only difference.
it's a good way to see. This is what I like about shuffle mode, because I learned how to plan districts by playing Japan, because Japan like really forces you to double down on your district adjacency, right? Playing shuffle mode encourages you to remember what those boosts are, right?
True.
So maybe you do some online speed shuffle mode, and then just as like, I don't know how many people want to like practice playing a game, but you can do that to help you play your main game a little bit better.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
And then finally, my favorite Civ that came out of here, I have to remind myself who came out. Gaul, Byzantium, Grand Colombia, Maya. Who else? Who am I missing? Kublai, Vietnam. I'm missing one.
You say Maya?
He said
did.
Maya.
No, it was the one.
Ethiopia.
Oh, Ethiopia. Yeah, that one's my favorite.
Ethiopia?
Oh, they're sick. They're so good. Man, you just go faith and you get everything.
So obvious it's your favorite,
amazing.
right? Like
It is.
Yeah, you couldn't
it is.
remember who they are. They're your favorite.
But as soon as you said it, I remembered all the memories of playing Ethiopia, and they're all fantastic. They're all great. Only good memories. They're the only one of the only civilizations you can win a culture victory without building anything except rock-hewn churches. It's amazing. Ethiopia is my favorite civ in the pack. And then if you're gonna go for predictions, I guess I'll go, since I'm already talking. I think it's gonna be the Philippines. I think if we're going eastward in the world, we're in the islands now, right? And Indonesia's already taken, because that would have been my guess. But since Indonesia's already in the game, I'll go with the other Philippine island, other island, which is the Philippines. So that's my guess. Philippines, not Portugal. Philippines. So.
If they did North America, I think they'd go the Iroquois, and it'd be kind of like maybe a militaristic trade civ, or something along those lines. So yeah, North America. Although I could see, I know not Europe, but like super Europe, but like I could see Eastern European or Slavic. Because there's lots to choose from. So, not like Kazakhstan or something, but like, something in that region.
If it's Eastern Europe,
something in that region.
I would say Bulgaria.
Oh,
is
Bulgaria.
high on the list.
Yeah.
They're like
Bulgaria.
the classic enemies of the Byzantine Empire and also of the Ottoman Empire. They fought against the Bulgarians a lot.
Didn't they fight the Gaul too? Or is that?
No, that's Rome.
I
Rome
thought,
fought Gaul.
Okay, my bad. Oh yeah. Basil was the Bulgan slayer. I'm my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
So yeah, I
that,
could see
that happened
East
on
European.
Monday.
They could, I guess, do Austria too, eh?
Yeah,
Like the
I mean,
Habsburgs,
That'd be
I
more
guess, yeah.
European.
If we're gonna go Europe,
resurrection from Civ 5, that could be possible.
and if we're gonna go Europe, maybe they're gonna save it for Switzerland, for where Sid Meier's from. If you're gonna go really wild, if we're gonna go like, okay, this is the last civilization in Civilization 6. We're assuming that there's no new frontier pass after. There's no frontier pass after this. There's no DLC. It's just this is the last Civ. Everybody's hyped for this one moment. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. It's gonna be aliens. It's gonna be aliens. Legitimately, I think it'll be aliens. Yeah, legit. And they'll get a unique giant death robot. Watch
giant
here.
Death robot.
You heard it here. It's gonna be
It's
aliens.
gonna be like
You heard it right
the Asgard from like Stargate or something.
Yes.
I've got a wild one for you if you want.
Yeah,
it.
go for it. Yeah, let's hear it.
Because I'm in the camp where like Austria, Portugal, and Venice are all possible. But if I had my druthers, the last Civ would be Navajo. And one of your unique abilities is a unit that can either be a great general or a spy, depending on how you want to deploy them. And like if this, so they can either be with your units on the field or you can put them in a city.
Wow.
And you get like better communication or you get Diplo visibility if they're in a city. But then if they're with your units on the map, you get the combat bonus. Like, I don't know if you want to go so far as to like name them the Code Talker or whatever, but like your unique unit for this Civ is not a combat unit, right? And so like Gran Colombia has the Comandante General, right? So that's not a combat unit, but they also have the Llanero. So like let's make a Civ that, honest to God, does not have a unique combat unit, because that would be a first in Civ 6.
And it's the last Civ, so like, why not, right?
Why not? Why not?
If it could be aliens, then it could
that
be
has
that
me
too.
thinking, though, if they went that route, then the suggested game mode that I thought would be the last game mode, they wouldn't do that, because that'd be kind of boring.
Oh yeah,
we have one more game mode coming too.
So what's
right?
the game mode? I don't understand.
I think the next game mode, I think it's going to be something to do with war. I think it's going to be like Total War or some kind of warfare game mode, and a peaceful Civ coming with it. I don't think will make sense if they did go that route. But if it was like the Iroquois, I'm like, yeah, I can see Iroquois, and we'll have this new and the mode. I don't know. It could be something as simple as like you get a free military unit every few turns. Or
the
something.
new game mode might not be not anything in the base game. It might be something like a new Pirates as well, right? It might be
maybe.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
because they specifically said
seem to be-
scenario for that one.
Yeah. So I think something to do with war
I
will
can
be the
see it.
likely game mode.
I can see
or
that.
like when you kill units, you get general points and stuff like this. Stuff just encourage conflict.
A World War game mode where if once one person goes to war, you have to pick a side.
Something like that,
That'd be
like
cool.
where alliances matter a little more, or maybe in the war scenario or the war mode, that's where you have breakaway civs might be a real thing. So yeah, something it'll be like war or like something like vassalage mode or something like that, where like you're able to like cow states into your.
Can we
submission.
please puppet cities again? Where you can
Yeah,
keep
that was
it,
cool.
raise it, or
Before.
puppet it, please.
Puppet.
Can we get it back?
Love that vassalage.
All right, so we're out of time here. VektorKat, thank you for being on the show with us today. Please, where can the people find you and your content?
On the internet.
Can you give us a little more detail on that? Where do we go? We're on the internet. Now what?
www./:VektorKat.hashtag.
You're already wrong. Okay.
Gmail.google.
You're already wrong.
semicolon Zozo Stagmus hyphen the Moy.brackets.
Hyphen or dash? There's a big difference.
So
Different Unicode.
first
Sound
of
like Captain
all,
Holt.
the community main landing page where we exist mostly can be found at r/Civ6 Challenge League. So that's Civ the number 6 and then Challenge League. So that's where we are on Reddit. We also are on Discord. Same handle, same bat time, same bat station. The podcast is under the same name, Civ6 Challenge League. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Podbean. We're on Google's Podcatcher. We're on Anchor. Thanks so much, Anchor. Love you. Throw us some money. And then every now and again, VektorKat, myself, is streaming on Twitch right now 2 days a week. Wednesdays and Thursdays, usually in the morning before Bose goes live, is kind of what I'm doing right now. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Come hang out. That's where I am. That's where we are. Yeah, that's Civ6 Challenge League / VektorKat / the internet. That's us.
Oh, did you dab? Jeez, man.
Every
I'm so
chance
glad
I
to be on the
get.
show.
Every chance I
man.
get, youngin. Look,
Youngin.
you don't stop dabbing because you get old. You get old because you stop dabbing.
It's a hashtag truth right there.
Oh God, what's happening? Oh God, no!
See, you're young again.
I'm young
can't
again.
even-
Wow. Suddenly I grew hair all over. Wow, my hair's back. Oh my God.
I know. In all seriousness, thanks for having me, y'all. It's always a good time. Really and truly.
Love having you on the show.
Really
I love
appreciate
having
you guys.
We love having you
Uh,
on as well, man.
Speaking of having on the show, I guess you guys can tune in Sunday where we'll have Foibles. Right? Foibles.
Absolutely right. And
Foibles
he's
on the
coming
show.
in. He's coming in with a game. We have no idea what's happening. He told me. Oh, he told me a hint actually of what the game mode was. We're gonna lose cameras
how
here
exciting.
real quick. So 1 second, but because I can't remember what he said. He said the hints for Sunday is romance languages. That was the hint.
Romance languages. So it's going to be like Rome, France, Spain. And
Spain.
one more.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're going to be forced with it on you.
That's
Great.
one option, and it's probably that. That is the most likely, but it's also possible that it's all Eleanor.
Maybe we'll do it. It'll be
Brazil
on a
might be
Europe
another
map.
one because Brazil speaks Portuguese, so
Yeah. Okay.
that might be
okay.
one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, join us Sunday, and you'll see foibles.
Yeah. And you can also find us though every day on Twitter at TheCivShow. It's where you can get your up-to-date Civ Show content and up-to-date Civilization content. It's also where we like to roast all of the CivGive participants. So please follow us at TheCivShow.
Hey, and if you want to check out some of our other content, you can check out our YouTube channel. That's where if you miss any of the streams, our VODs get uploaded to the YouTube channel. We all have our own different series as well. I do the Better Know a Leader series, which is for history, Razing Reviews from Razing Zozo, and Moy does reaction videos as well for Civilization content. So definitely go check that out and give us a subscribe, ring the bell, and check us out there.
Ring that bell. Sorry. And of course, if you want the more intimate connection, you can join us on our Discord at the Civ Show. It's where our community comes to the local Civ watering hole to chat about all sorts of stuff, Civ and not Civ. And as you know, of course, we now have 5 days of Civ Show coming at you. 5 days of Civ Show, starting with Sunday night Civ Show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got afternoon tea with Nystagmus on Mondays at 2. These are all Eastern Standard Time. Zozo in the morning on Tuesdays. Good morning amenities, 9 a.m. Moy at night for a beer and some Civ, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, every Thursday night we're here with you for the Civ Show podcast. So 5 days of Civ. Other than that, thanks a lot again, VektorKat. It's been great. Say goodnight, everybody.
It's always
Good
a
night,
pleasure.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We're gonna go raid, I guess, foibles.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
exactly who I have queued up right now. For
Yeah,
this, so.
yeah. I mean, good cue into Sunday, eh?
Thanks for stopping by.
Nystagmus isn't waving. He's a rude boy.